What's up, Internet Universe?
Hey everyone.
Welcome back to recap show, NFL recap show. We'll be recapping week 3. As you can see, Gobo too scared to show up again today. So we got Major Tom back again. Well, and it's kind of weird now because he's gonna have to defend his well, not really, because he's
I was gonna say
okay,
that I'm loving this because
he
I
smoked me.
I thrashed you last week.
You know what? You thrashed me. To be fair, you didn't get over 500. So
Hey, I'm an amateur, not a pro.
that's right. And I'm a pro. And well, all right. So,
Oh,
okay. So we have people that play along with us. I don't know if you know this or not. This is the first time that we'll be mentioning them. If you guys want to play along, we will post the game schedule in the comments section of the YouTube page. That way, all you have to do is copy and paste it in there and then make your picks. We've been making it hard on you, making you put your own games up there. But we have one participant this week that was Angry Panda Poet. I don't know uh, how else to say it, but they smoked me also.
were they better than 8-8 though?
No, they were 7-9. And
Okay,
I'll tell you what, if you guys participate at home on the YouTube page and you beat both of us in any given week, we'll send you a prize. All right. I
there you go. That works.
think that's fair. Anyway, James Marv's here for Major Tom, and let's get started. Oh, I'm on week 4. All right, week 3. We started off with a Monday night football game that nobody wanted to see. That's right. It was the New York Football Jets in New England, where I think New England has owned you for the last 10 years or so. But as we know, Belichick and Brady are no longer there. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. All right. I hate to admit this, Tom, but Aaron Rodgers looked pretty fucking good in this game. And
He
it disturbs me.
well, he looked good. They totally blew him out. I mean, 24-3. Um, he looked good, and he also proved that he's still the biggest dick in the NFL during this game by, that little tete-a-tete he had with the coach there. Which, in the presser afterwards was, oh, it don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm a Packers fan. I loved Aaron Rodgers when he was on the field for the Packers in terms of his play. Never liked his personality. And he just continues to show us who he really is. But you can't take away from him the fact that, they clean New England's clock, man.
They did. They went into New England, Foxborough, as it were, and they put the wood down. What do you, the two guys, Sola and Rogers had different stories on uh, what happened on that little hug push.
Yeah.
And I don't really believe either one of them.
Me either.
I feel
Just
like,
look at the tape, folks. Look at the tape.
okay,
Look
so
at the expression on the faces.
yeah. And again, this is a news story, so we'll talk about it in the other segment.
Yeah, yeah,
This game it was boring.
yeah. It really was.
And look, the Jets don't need to be in prime time. Okay. I don't care. I mean, if you want to put them up against another Super Bowl contender, like they are Super Bowl contenders, fine. I'll watch them get smoked all day long. But you put them up here with like a softball. I don't care if it's the most major market in the country. This is just going to excite a bunch of people that they beat on a piss poor team 24-3. That's all it is. Sorry.
Moving on.
Moving on. Game one on Sunday. The New York Football Giants go to Cleveland, where these two organizations are in peril as far as I'm concerned. And just looking for something good out of either one of them. We both picked Cleveland here,
Yep.
and honestly, the decision to bring Deshaun Watson over for what was it, 4 draft picks or 6 draft picks or some
Yeah.
crazy like that, and then to fully guarantee a contract of likes of which have never been seen when it was signed. What are you getting out of that?
Nothing.
Absolute garbage. They were at home
Yeah.
against a team that probably is top 2 worst teams in NFL, and they couldn't get shit done. This was
It
a
was a
15
it,
21.
it was a race to the bottom, and the wrong team won.
So you still think Cleveland's a better team than New York?
Um, yeah, I do. I still think they've got more fundamental building blocks there, but I mean, let's be real here. They're a 4-win team for the season.
Yeah, I agree. And it was, again, outside of being a fan of either of those teams, this was not a game that anyone wanted to watch. So the first actually intriguing game of the day was Chicago at Indianapolis. All right, you have Caleb Williams, the new shiny toy for the Bears, against the still new shiny toy for the Colts. And we're
My
just
shiny toy is better than your shiny toy.
we're trying to see one of them rise to the top. And
Yeah.
quite honestly, they're like soap scum, both of them. They're just hanging around, not really doing anything. Turnover machines. I mean, there's a lot of yardage put up in this game. We both picked Chicago.
Yeah.
Um, you said Bumblenuts and AR both get multiple picks. I think you were right. I think you were right on that one.
And it was only a 5-point game. So, I mean, relatively speaking, I guess you'd call that kind of close,
Yeah.
but there's just not a lot to talk about with either one of these.
I'll tell you what, when I was going back looking over this and putting in the final tallies of the choices, I was shocked that I picked the Bears on this one
Really?
because I've been speaking very highly of Anthony Richardson, and I still think that he's going to be better than Caleb Williams.
Well, I picked the Bears based on the weakness of Indianapolis the first 2 weeks.
Well, they lost
And
to Forrest Buckner.
yeah,
That was huge. And to me, that's the only reason I can think of that I picked Chicago because this game was in Indianapolis. So
yeah.
Chicago showed me nothing offensively that would let me believe that even without DeForest Buckner, they couldn't win this game.
The
I don't know why.
Chicago the Chicago offensive line sucks. They're terrible.
They might be the worst offensive. And here's another thing. You even picked Chicago first. I honestly
I
am
know.
looking
I know.
saying, how could I not? How
What
could
were you thinking?
yeah, I don't know. I was thinking I want to go 5-11 on the week. Let me go ahead and pick the Bears. All right, now we have the miracle. This was supposed to be a good game. We have the Houston at Minneapolis. Um, quite frankly, Gobo and I have been talking a lot about how we think that, or how we did think that Houston was one of the best teams in the AFC. And apparently you didn't get the memo because you went with Minneapolis and I guess Minnesota, I should say, the Vikings. And I went with Houston and you were right. I was wrong.
Well, here's I don't know how the AFC versus NFC is going to stack up this year. But, Houston is playing they're going to win their division because everybody else in their division sucks so bad. But Minnesota, as I think I said last week, I think they're a really good team. In fact, I made the comment earlier this last week to you. I think it's possible that I think the NFC North is the strongest division in the NFL right now. I think it's real possible you get 3 playoff teams out of that division alone. And the Vikings are good. I and boy, I mean, again, I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated or anything like that, but they're a lot better team than anyone expected. And the coaching staff's doing a great job up there.
Well, here's the thing. It's almost comical because no matter how good they do, you're just we're gonna have to have a prediction show on how they blow it this year. Because they will. It's the Vikings. Okay. So
It's the 63-year-old curse that just keeps on giving.
well, and I want to say this because we have a new project that we're doing in coordination with NFL, and that is to bring on correspondents for teams
Yes.
that can just so we can get a little more in depth on the games for people that follow them closer than we are able to. Ben Shrewsbury is our correspondent for the Minnesota Vikings, and he made 3 separate videos for the TikTok this weekend. The first one, I mean, they're supposed to be pep rally videos. If I'm being honest, you're supposed to pep up your fan base. He did not do this. He actually picked Houston to win and basically lambasted Sam Darnold into so badly that the people responded to him multiple times during the game
He
saying,
got
"We want to
flamed.
retract this, bozo."
He
So
got
he did.
flamed.
He made a retraction video, and then these videos
He
get like 1,000 views each. So
he
uh,
made a humble pie video.
did. So I guess my point is, if there's a team that, well, we're covering all teams here, but we can't get to, obviously he's Packers, I'm Seahawks, Gobo Packers. If there's a team that you cover very closely and you'd like to make a 2 minute or less pep rally video before your team, you want to be a correspondent, hit us up in the chat here and we'll see if we can see what we can do for you. It's very easy. All you need is a cell phone and a little bit of knowledge about your team. I
In
take
about
care of the
20 or 30 seconds of your time.
Yep, and I can take care of the rest. So moving on. The next game was, oh yeah, buddy. This is
Oh,
this is Philadelphia at New Orleans. I thought New Orleans was fake, not for real. And it's not that I'm a Philly fan, because I've been bashing on them for a good solid 2 years now. But I know that you saw 91 points in the first 2 weeks, and you're like, no one stopped them yet. I don't believe I've seen the Eagles from the first week to
yep.
this week.
There's pretty logical rationale there.
And I just said, Derek Carr, no, no, you can't keep this up.
Hey, it was only a 3-point game.
That's true, but I mean, when you look at the first game, like 40s in their 40s, and I mean,
Yeah.
these weren't slouch teams they beat either. I mean, Carolina was, but then they whooped Dallas.
Yes,
They're like,
exactly. That
okay,
was the tell, I thought.
all
But
right,
anyway,
because you would figure that Dallas is at least equal or somewhere around Philadelphia, but
you would hope better.
I mean,
But yeah.
right. Well, I wouldn't because I hate the Cow. Well, I don't like that division at all. Give it to Washington. I like up and comers. But anyway, yeah, that's one I can hang my hat on. One of the 5 that I got right was a risk. So could have went 4-12 had I missed on that one. All right. looks like I had two victories here in a row. We had the Chargers at Pittsburgh. I'm gonna let you defend your choice for the Chargers.
Um, I think the Chargers are. I still think they're a good team. Um, Obviously they've been working on injury situation, but um, I think the Chargers are. I think they could potentially contend for the West. And I, this was a surprise. It really was. But don't underestimate coaching in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's
Well, this was a coach's duel, let's be honest. Harbaugh
yes. Yep.
versus Tomlinson. All right. So there was a point in time where everyone on this show was of the opinion that Justin Herbert was a top 2, 3 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not seeing that guy right now.
Yeah.
And you can't really blame it on injuries. If Matt Stafford can beat the 49ers without his top 2 wide receivers, I don't care what you're dealing with in San Diego, or not San Diego, but LA, other team.
Yeah.
You've got to
Yeah.
be able to figure it out. And personally, I love seeing a struggling Harbaugh team. Nothing makes me happier than that. I have faith in Mike Tomlinson, and you know, we're unclear on the status of Russell Wilson again this week. I believe he's not going to play, and
I
we'll get to this in a minute
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know what I'm going to say.
You know what I'm going to say too.
And well, he said he would be out by halftime in this game. I was like,
If he started.
I didn't play. So anyway, Pittsburgh pulls it out, 20-10. I had 28-21, so it wasn't, and you had 21-17 for the Chargers. So
Yeah.
neither of our scores were outlandish, but I mean, it was in Pittsburgh. They have TJ Watt, they have Mike
It
Tomlinson.
was a solid win for Pittsburgh.
Oh, for sure.
Solid.
And they're 3-0 now with Justin
Yes.
Fields.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for Russell Wilson, and again, we'll get to this when we get to that other team that that we're both thinking of. He can't be happy knowing that he's lost his job due to injury. Because that's an unwritten rule in the NFL or any sport. You don't
Yes.
lose your job to injury. But I have a feeling he's not even going to get a chance as long as Justin Fields is putting up the W's. So
I agree.
we'll see. All right, this the NFL is fucked. It makes no sense, Tom.
Oh, this
Denver
next
at Tampa Bay.
this game. Oh my
What
God.
did we see out of Denver the first 2 weeks? Absolute
Absolutely nothing.
nothing.
And Tampa looked pretty good in week 2, gotta say.
They've looked good all year
Yeah. I mean, I just what what the fuck happened,
in
Damon?
Tampa.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is just one of those things where every so often a game comes along and it just reminds you of uh, a lot of this game is mental focus, a lot of it's coaching, a lot of it, and it's a long enough season now. It's a marathon. You, you know, I think Tampa just wasn't prepared for this. I think they
I,
went into thinking that we can
yeah,
roll these
we got
guys.
this. We got
You
this.
got this. Yes,
Take a week off. Nobody get hurt. We'll move on.
exactly.
Well, Bo Nix, I mean, he's got more experience than any of the other rookie quarterbacks in games played. So, and he's got a coach that's notoriously hard on quarterbacks. So he's either going to figure it out or he's going to fail before the midway point of the season.
Yep.
And this might be a turning point for him. That was a big win to start the Bo Nix era. All right. And there's no bones about it. Tampa is a good team. They've got a great defense. They've got a good offensive line, and they've got some they've been playing together. Like the offense
Yes.
has continuity together.
Yeah.
for the first time since Brady. And to bring Baker Mayfield back and see what he's been able to do, I bet Cleveland still wishes they had him. Uh, but that's a story for another. Well, it's a story that we'll probably bring up every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just we both picked Tampa, and for good reason. They just
And we
shit
were
the bed on
wrong.
us. They shit the bed on us.
Yep.
It just
Yep.
proves that you could be the most skilled analyst. Nobody picked Denver. Nobody.
Nobody.
Even
Nobody
Denver
did.
was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck. We're gonna fly all the way across the country to get our asses pounded." And well,
Holy
it's
shit, we
dumb luck.
won.
It's dumb luck. All right, I'll let you take this one first. You sack. You picked Green
Uh,
over Tennessee. I
yep.
picked Tennessee, and I picked Tennessee because yeah, I just figured, they would want to beat up on their former quarterback.
Former. Yeah,
And
he had other things in mind.
yeah,
Here's a couple of things again, looking at the Packers now 3 weeks in. And it does sound like we're going to get Jordan Love back next week. But I think for me, the real story of the Packers so far this year is the run game and the offensive line. They've made some big changes in the offensive line. We sent a running back to Minnesota, and we've got young guys in there now. AJ Dillon is out hurt, and so we've got relatively inexperienced people in the backfield, and we're moving the ball. We're running the ball. We're controlling the line of scrimmage. So I think that's the really good news. And then I think the other good news is that you know our number two quarterback, he he's still not a Jordan Love, but man, has the coaching staff gotten him ready to play, and he has executed when he needed to execute. And I think he had something to prove last week and this week about he still, he does belong in the NFL. And he was going to show the Titans that they made a mistake, and boy did he. I mean, it was a great game.
well, the Titans have made many mistakes, to be fair.
Yes.
But to me, you did mention what I personally believe is the strength of the Packers right now, and that is coaching. I think
Yes.
that Matt LaFleur is an underrated coach in this league. I know that a couple years ago he almost lost his job. They're probably really glad that they retained him because he is he's working wonders with this new quarterback, and just they're never under duress in a game. Like they've got it very well managed. The time management is impressive. I don't know. I think that they're a scary team, and it's unfortunate that they came up short in week one. Because
Um,
they belong in the undefeateds right now.
yeah, yeah, they do. And I don't blame that on Love getting hurt either. It was a bad field, and if you're a team that is gonna, rely more on the run game, which I think is what we're doing this year, that field down in Brazil was awful for that. But I like the new defensive coordinator. And I was one of the people who was probably the most critical of the front office and Brian Nukes, or I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but in retrospect, he's done a great job. He's done a great job putting players where they're supposed to be, and bringing in bringing in Malik as a backup quarterback. Where would we be if that hadn't happened? Late in the preseason. So good job.
I want you to do some. I want you to try and pronounce his last name.
I can't pronounce it.
It's like Gutkunst?
Yeah,
Gutkunst?
I don't even. I don't
It's
even.
spelled
You he
Gutkunst.
And
K
there's an N in
U
there.
Kunst.
Get Knutsk. I mean, it's definitely a Wisconsin name. You got that for sure.
Gutenst?
Yeah.
Just call
Brian
it
G. Brian G.
Brian Willis. Anyway, yeah. Wow. Okay, moving on. Carolina, Las Vegas. All right. So
What the hell happened
we talked
here?
about this a little bit with the Buccaneers game. And here's what I can say. All right. Clearly, Bryce Young sucks because they were absolute garbage in their first two games. Bring in Andy Dalton. He's the old pro, the big red machine, as I call him. And they put a beat down on it. They put up 36 points.
Yeah.
I don't think Bryce Young has put up that many points in the last four games he's played combined. That's pretty bad. All right. So those people that were calling, let's trade for Bryce, probably have put the phone down at this point.
Yes.
Here's the thing, Tom. I think the thing that makes the NFL so weird is it's like they're like wine pairings. It's like some wines go really good with a steak, and then some wines just don't. And so like this team could be really good against this team, but when they play another team that's in common, that pairing doesn't work. And there's something about the team's makeup. Like you can be good and not beat everybody. Like somebody's gonna have your number, and that's that weird pairing that I'm talking about.
Well,
Agreed.
with regard to Carolina, I'm going to use a different analogy, and that is I'm still a hater on them. And the best thing that could happen to that team is that they get a new owner. But the analogy I will use in terms of them winning this game is a broken clock is right twice a day. Even a broken clock is correct twice a day.
So you see,
And
Carolina's a 12-win team or 2-win team, is what you're saying.
yes, there you go. This was one of them.
All right, that's fair. The Raiders, man, you guys got to figure it out because Andy Dalton, I know he's not running around, so you got to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Bryce Young. All right, if Andy Dalton could do that behind this offensive line, it's got to be that he's just too short. It's got to be. Bryce Young, what is he? He's Russell Wilson's height. He's 5'10".
Maybe they could put springs on his shoes, on his.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, but the Raiders, man, they're got a top five pick written all over them too.
Yeah.
And I mean, they didn't look like that in week two, but whatever. Like I said,
Every week's different. Yep.
we both picked the Raiders, and we were both wrong because we had no faith in the big red machine. He's 100 years old too. I mean, you probably feel better in the morning when you wake up than he does.
I bet I do.
So, all right. Well, this next game, I'm gonna go ahead and
Light the candle, baby.
light the victory candle because I'm tired of smelling my own farts. This will be
There
much
you
better.
go.
This will be much better. Here we go. So I guess that ruins it. Seattle wins big against Miami. They didn't have Tua. Um, that's a big one. I was not looking forward to this game because I don't like playing teams when they're not at full strength. I felt like I would love to see Tua throw a bunch of interceptions and then noise in Seattle. Skylar Thompson, I mean, he looked like a backup quarterback until he broke his ribs. And then they had to, I don't even remember who the third string quarterback they brought in the third, fourth quarter was, but he was not any better. And this was along with the Jets beating down New England. This was the biggest butt whooping of the week.
I'm just going to point out one thing.
Yeah,
The margin of victory that I was projecting was way closer than yours.
I was gonna say you had 24-7. I don't know where you get off giving them 7 points. I gave them 28. I don't know. It's just because look, I'd rather look bad there because our defense has historically made second and third string quarterbacks look like all pros. And I realize that's a Pete Carroll era thing, but here's the deal. This was ugly. We beat the tar out of them, but this was an ugly game. I think we have 23 penalties in 3 games.
Yeah.
That's I mean, it's high in the league. I think somebody leads at 31. I think someone has 31 penalties in 3 games. But we have this one offensive lineman that's got 5 penalties in 3 games. And it's like, dude,
Here's the thing though. Seattle is a top 2 or a top 3 defense in the league right now. And I know we're way early in the season and a lot can happen, but um, if you're any team that's going to play the Seahawks, especially coming into Seattle, you better be prepared for this defense. They're awesome.
well, that was Mike McDonald's MO coming over from Baltimore. Because remember, he was their
Yep,
defensive coordinator the last 2 years,
yep.
and they were the number one defense under him. We couldn't really expect him to turn that all around in one single offseason in Seattle. And I'm still hesitant to say because the first 2 teams we played were Denver, New England, and then a Tua-less Miami. So let's keep it in check a little bit because
Yeah.
we have a big test this coming week in Detroit. So I'm really looking forward to that's going to be a fun game to watch. I hope that my frustrations are just because they're better than us and not because we're killing ourselves with self-inflicted wounds like we always do. But yeah, we both picked Seattle. That was not difficult once we knew Tua was out. It would have been a way harder choice if
Yeah.
Tua was in the lineup. All right. So speaking of Tua, Miami, oh sorry, Detroit, Arizona. Let's talk about that game. Um, you picked Detroit as most professionals would. I picked Arizona because I don't know, I was
You
high.
just want to be different.
No, no, I honestly believed that Arizona was going to win that game. And that's based on the promise of what I saw. Their move, their move from week 1 to week 2 was better than any team in the NFL as far as I was concerned. And it wasn't that they played absolutely garbage on week 1, but they addressed a situation that was brought up directly following the game. And that's why didn't you target Marvin Harrison Jr.? You picked him in the top 10 to use him, and then you didn't target him once. And Kyler Murray's like, I threw the ball where they told me where the play was supposed to go to. Well, the first 2 touchdowns, they were up 17 like within 5 minutes in this
Yeah.
game. And the first 2 touchdowns were to Marvin Harrison Jr. And he looked like Harrison Sr., just tearing people apart. And so I thought, you know what? If they can make that jump from week 1 to week 2, why can't they make it and make a statement win here against Detroit at home? And they just didn't do it. They just didn't do it.
Well, and I think personally, I think Detroit is every bit the team that they were last year. They haven't had any really good tests of that yet. Um, but we'll see as the season goes along here. But yeah, anyway,
My biggest problem with Detroit is Jared Goff. I'm still stuck on there.
you're not a believer.
They're a Matthew Stafford away from winning the Super Bowl. That's what I'm gonna say until Jared Goff proves otherwise, and he's gonna have to do it this week. Last time Seattle went in there, they beat them
Yeah.
in overtime in their building, and we are a much worse team, and they were a much worse team than they are now. But they were still playoff caliber team. They were touted to make the Super Bowl, and they didn't do it. So, all right. You picked Detroit, I picked Arizona. All right. Here's where things kind of go another haywire again. Baltimore, Dallas. This was not an easy game to call.
No.
All right. Because you've got Baltimore was 0-2 coming off a season where they were, in the thick of things up to the end, and they had, of course, the defending MVP of the league in Lamar Jackson against Dallas, who has been faltering as well. So we both picked Dallas.
Yeah.
One thing led to another, and Baltimore won by a field goal.
Yeah.
Thought,
Game could have went either way. Dallas should have won this game, but shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't count.
right? All right. This one, this next one, I'm not mad about it. I'm actually fine missing this one. I thought, okay, both these teams, and we're talking about the Rams at San Francisco. At
Yep.
San Francisco. All right. Matthew Stafford's missing Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. The really only threat he has is Tutu Atwell and Colby Parkinson, the tight end that they picked up from Seattle this offseason. That was enough. Um, of course, Debo Samuels is out for the 49ers, as is Christian McCaffrey. And so it was a battle of injuries. And I just thought, you know what? Brock Purdy, I keep hearing about it. And he had 3 touchdown passes to Ayuk, which is insanity. But then you got Matthew Stafford, who should be quarterbacking Detroit to a Super Bowl, but he's not. He's going to wither away in mediocrity with the Rams for the rest of the
You're
season.
just wishing that.
Well, here's the thing. I picked San Francisco, you picked the Rams. I almost laughed out loud at you when you did that. But out of respect, I didn't. I did tell you that I wanted to laugh at you when you said it. But who's laughing now? I'm okay with it because that means when the 49ers lost and Seattle won, that means we now, after 3 weeks, have a 2-game lead in our division. The rest of the teams in our division are 1-2, and we're 3-0, and that we're gonna need that if we want to.
I think there's bigger problems in San Francisco than just injuries.
Help me.
That's I mean I just I don't know. They just don't look as tight. To watch them play, I didn't think they looked like they have the last couple of years. Things are just not there. Something's not gelling right. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty evident. And they got to get it fixed.
Well, we're 3 weeks in, and they don't have the most dynamic player in the NFL
Yeah.
on their sideline. They don't. I mean,
I think it's more than that though. I really do.
well, I mean, we'll see when he comes back. They may bounce
Yeah.
back and not lose another game. I could easily see that happening. But for now, they're 2 games behind us, and I'm totally fine with that. Because that means no matter what happens this weekend, we're still in the lead at the quarter away through the season. All right. We got it. We got to talk about this game. All right. Chiefs fans, you're good. All right. You don't need help from the officials. This game
Yeah.
we're going to talk about is Kansas City at Atlanta. All right. What good are rules if they don't apply to the Chiefs? Do
I
you
agree
feel good about this
totally.
win? Do you feel good about this win? I'm going to show a picture right now of what happened here. This guy completely interferes with this player, and it should be first and goal from the 1 yard.
Yes.
But it gets nothing. They were even saying it on the broadcast. Collinsworth's like, that is egregious. And that's the
Yes.
game. That's the game. And this is
Yep.
2 weeks in a row now that we've had controversial plays that have benefited the Chiefs. And if you want to say 3 games in a row, we all know I saw Atlanta's foot was on the whatever, or not Atlanta, Baltimore. The dude's
Baltimore.
foot was on the line. But I mean, these calls, let's say he was in and they made the call that he was out, and then they had to review it and find that he was in. It's still, it really stinks because the Chiefs are good. They're good enough to win games, but you can't be spotting them games that they didn't earn. Like, that's just, I'm not a Chiefs hater like I was. I still think the fan base needs to learn how to read. Uh, but
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I were, I would say that the NFL wants to absolutely be sure that Taylor Swift is in a box at the Super Bowl this season. Um, and that's all I'm going to say. Hey, stuff gets missed, bad calls are made, but you know, egregious stuff. Now 2 games in a row. Um, they need to be watching a little bit better. I'll just leave
no,
it
but
like
here's the
that.
thing. I'm not calling for people being able to throw a flag and say, dude, review that because he totally interfered with our guy. To me, that ruins the game.
Well, and they'd be doing it on every play.
But I do think, though, if they call interference, you should be able to throw the flag and say, I know what it looked like in real time, but let's take a look at it
Let's look at it
and
again.
make sure that you actually saw, because we need to see that. If it's going to cost us a game, I need to see that. I do agree with that.
Well, I would actually say maybe you do one of these, especially when the game is on the line. Maybe you set it up so in the last 3 minutes or something, each team can throw one challenge for pass interference, defensive pass interference, something like that. There at the end of the game when things are that there should be a way to take a look at it. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Throughout the rest of the game, no.
No, that's fine, but you also know that classically, pass interference is not called at the in the last minutes of a game. I
Right.
mean, it's like another unwritten rule that within 2 minutes,
Well,
you
they
want a
they
pass interference call affecting the game
they
outcome.
they don't want the referees, the officials to decide the outcome of the game, but in effect, what you're doing is you're giving a hall pass to all the defensive backs. I mean, that's not right.
Well, and there's another rule that I don't like, and that's the pass interference 50 yards down the field that moves the ball 50 yards down the
Yeah,
field.
yeah,
I think like if you want to keep that rule in play, fine. But within 2 minutes of either of any half, it should be like a 5 yard penalty. Because if you're not going to call it because it's going to cost the game, fix that. Fix it to where it's not going to cost the game and you can actually call it. And it's not like this huge deal. It's a 5 yard penalty and first down. That doesn't kill anybody.
right.
You know what I mean? Like there's ways to fix it. And they're clearly interested in trying to fix the game and make it more viewable based on these new kickoff rules, which is still um,
That's a joke.
but get it right. Figure it out,
Yeah.
NFL, because the Chiefs don't need your fucking help
Nope, they don't.
unless we're talking
Abs-
about a reading program for their fans. All right. Jacksonville at Buffalo. What a goddamn embarrassment Jacksonville is.
oh man.
You know what I heard, Tom? And I heard that um Trevor Lawrence is being compared to, any ideas? Daniel
No.
Jones from the Giants. They're saying the
Oh,
same player. Ouch. If that's the case, Jacksonville, draft a quarterback with your second pick of the draft.
The all I'm going to say is that the entire Jacksonville team and their coaches would have been better off going over Niagara Falls in a barrel than what they did in this game. It was is not pretty.
Yeah, 47-10. Buffalo just absolutely.
Thumped them.
I mean, is this a resurgence of Josh Allen, by the way? Because I know that you weren't here on week one, but we talked about how Gobo was like, Buffalo's done. They got nothing left. And I said, dude, they're a contender as long as Josh Allen's on that team. And I firmly believe he is the
I agree.
MVP of the league right now, and he will be up until the end. As long as he stays healthy, he will be the MVP of the league.
Don't
What
disagree.
that means as far as playoffs go, I don't know. But right now, Buffalo looks like a world beater.
They look good. Yep.
We both picked them. We didn't pick them to actually you said 34-10. It was 47-10. I'll just forget what score I said. So we'll move on. All right. Final game of the week. We both missed it.
Oh, and what a
Both had faith in
disappointment.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Tom. Joe Burrow played well. He had over
Yes.
325 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. And his defense just got carved up by new
Yep.
kid on the block, Jaden. He's the new CJ Stroud. This kid's amazing. And I've called it. I didn't really call them to win because I'm waiting for that to happen, much like we did with Houston. But he is he's gonna be the rookie card that everybody is gonna be going after this year.
I think you're right. And given the state of the Eagles and the Cowboys, I want to mention the Giants. I mean, you could have a pretty close division race here, potentially.
I had Washington third, and Gobo gave me the people's eyebrow over that. He thought they would be last, and I'm like, no, the Giants.
Oh,
The Giants are clearly the last.
and you may see Washington at the top before it's all done. We'll see.
We'll see. We will see. That would be
You'd love that.
I would love that. I would love that because I got no love for the Cowboys or the Eagles or the Giants. I mean, but we don't even need to mention the Giants in any type of division winning scenario.
No.
I think we're years away from that. But check our TikTok because Jess Hupke or G-Men Jess has agreed to be our correspondent for the Giants. So you'll be seeing his videos on TikTok. I just got one from Midwest Jet,
But
Jets this week. So you'll see that on TikTok later today. Get at it, guys.
But here's the question. Is G-Man Jess going to tell the truth about the Giants?
Well, we saw Ben try and tell the truth about the Vikings.
And he got flamed.
So I do actually look forward to being flamed. And since Gobo's still down, are you going to do a Packers one for us this week?
Sure, absolutely.
I know I just made you commit to something on television.
Yeah, Ben and I are going to have a smackdown over this game this weekend.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Absolutely.
That's going to be must-see TV on our TikTok page, guys. Lock 22 on TikTok. All right, so check this out. Major Tom went 8-8 on the week. Respectable. Kind of respectable. It's only respectable because you
bumped you.
You beat the piss out of me. I was 5-11. Thank you to Angry Panda Poet who played along. She was 7-9. You guys do this.
Just it's fun.
Fill it out. We'll talk about it here on the recap show. And this is why we split it up because we can do whatever we need to here. And we can split it up and we can have a good conversation. And this is like a less formal version of the show, so we can mention people that are, talking to us in chat or whatever.
It's kind of like a March Madness bracket, except you get to redeem yourself every week.
Right. And if you don't want to watch us play fantasy football, you can skip this video and just watch the other one. So good on you. Major Tom, thank you for joining
Thank
us
you.
in Gobo's wake. Hopefully he'll be back next week. All right, and hopefully I smoke you this week in our picks coming up in the next video, coming to you directly after this video. Well, see you
Dream
guys.
on.
See you in
Later.
week 4.